Hello everybody, it is Ebontis, and for this video, I'm going to do a bit of an update. Learned a little bit more. A lot of what I covered in my first video, if you haven't watched that one, will still kind of hold, but there is just kind of the idea that I was saying, hey, maybe you don't want to do the armor first because you don't want to take away from your weapon drops. Seems like that's not really a thing, so if you go run Bonfire Bash, even after you start unlocking armor, instead of just getting like 4 weapon drops, now you're going to see weapon and armor drops on the ground. It's just this like smattering of loot that you get. So 5, 6, 7, 8 engrams, bunch of stuff falls on the ground. So not really as much of a point to hold back from, unlocking the armor. Still going to be able to grind out a lot of weapons. And actually, as you progress, I'll show you, you can actually have a better chance at getting a god roll because you got some better type of weapons with bonus perks to drop. So quick recap, if you didn't see the other video, when you get your Solstice Forge from Eva Levante, she's going to have you go into Bonfire Bash, do it one time, pick up a bounty, go through, and then accumulate enough alloy to get 1 piece of armor. And again, you need 100 alloy. The gold bounty, or the gray bounties are going to give you 5, the green ones give you 15, the gold ones give you 50. My advice typically still is going to be use the gray bounties while you're just playing Bonfire Bash or whatever activities. Again, defeating combatants with elemental damage, it will just naturally progress no matter what you're doing. But again, if you have 2 of these that are like void weapons, and then I come over here and I've got Solstice weapon, well, maybe I could put on a void auto rifle. I could put on a Solstice heavy weapon. And then here I just pick up the strand one for abilities and then the void one for abilities. And those will be a little slower, but as you progress through an activity, you're still going to make progress. Just the weapon ones, if you match them, they're like 4 times faster, so they do work. So try and link up a couple that are going to work together. Then once you get up to a point where, as you do complete a bounty in a row, all 3 will refresh. If you start lining up these gold bounties that are all the same of what you're going to do, me as a solo player, I looked for the Nightfalls or the dungeons. Like Shattered Throne, I did the opening of that 3 times as an early one. It's not the fastest thing in the world, I promise you, but it's pretty low stress for me as a solo player, just to kind of run around that maze of different locations and eventually clear out all the enemies. No real tough boss fight or anything like that, and it counts. I just literally reset the opening of the dungeon 3 times and I was done. Now the easiest one for a solo player, I'll tell you, just do a match made, look for the one that's Nightfall where you need 300,000 score, and it's a cumulative score. And this week, and probably most of them, just the match made Nightfall, I ended up like 108,000, I'm trying to think, 118,000. I had like 222,000 after 2 Nightfalls, so my 3rd one easily did it. And then what I had done is I had lined up 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 gold bounties that were all related to Nightfall, so I finished 3 Nightfalls, and I get 50 alloy for every single slot. And by doing a couple of these bounties and a couple of these bounties and some of these to try and line everything up, I'd already accumulated probably about 40 or 50 alloy for most of them, so I was close to actually unlocking the armor. Once you unlock the armor, you're going to get the basic stuff. Low stats, pretty basic, straightforward stuff. Now, to get the glow, like you can see here, what you're going to need to do is get 50 more alloy per slot. So similar thing applies. I got lucky on my 2nd one because I had kind of lined things up for the Nightfalls. 2nd one, literally just every bounty that I finished for that 50 alloy, I was able to do the incandescent ingot, which at that point, to finish the incandescent ingot quest, you just go into Bonfire Bash, stoke the bonfire 20 times, which is just throwing the orbs into the middle of the bonfire. Just run Bonfire Bash a couple times till you get it done. Come back out here, and then your armor will glow. And then if you go and apply it as a transmog or something along those lines, then you're able to have your glowing armor in white only, by the way, as the transmog. Hunter set actually looks kind of cool with the glow. You get the big Solstice thing on the back, but from the front, even if I just throw this cloak on there, still looks pretty cool, I'll be honest. And I put super black on there just to kind of give you guys a contrast for it, but really any shader you put on there is probably gonna be okay, but something that has a bigger contrast with the light glow is going to be a thing. Now, if you want the colored glows, just an FYI, those are going to come from the store. Now, these are the ones that are going to match up to super for Prismatic or subclass that you've got equipped, so I put void on to kind of give you a good color perspective here. But if you want to go orange, just switch over and go with, say, golden gun, and then if you go back to the store, I should be showing an orange glow in this little package. But really, it's just always going to match your subclass. So if you got a vibe that you want to go for this one, maybe it's a light blue, dark blue, gold, green, maybe green's your thing, you are going to need to purchase that from the store. Now, the thing we learned, 2 things. One, when you go through and you unlock the pieces of armor, like you do the 100 alloy and then you start have armor dropping from the end of Bonfire Bash, it actually really doesn't make the weapons drop less. You just get more engrams at the end. So instead of getting like 4 engrams with weapons, now you get like 6 engrams, 4 engrams with weapons, couple pieces of armor. When you get all of the slots unlocked, I swear I had 8 engrams drop at the end of a Bonfire Bash. Always try and get up to the 30 Bonfire Stoke, but even if you're a little bit short, you're still going to get plenty of loot and you're going to get plenty of weapons. The nice thing is, once you've even done the incandescent ingots, you may be done. Now, if you've been grinding a lot of Bonfire Bash, maybe you got a good roll on your weapons that you're looking for and you might be done. That's totally fine. But if you haven't completed what you're going for yet, once you've unlocked the armor completely, and even when you're partway through, like when you unlock the armor first, how you can see how it says like high stat Solstice armor as 1 perk. When you unlock the armor for that slot, then the bounties are going to have a chance at 1 high stat Solstice armor. Once you do the incandescent ingot for the glow, and then that slot is like completely done as mine show now you can see that you've got 2. And the gray bounties now, instead of giving you alloy, are going to give you 2 chances at Solstice armor, or a chance at high stat Solstice armor, and a chance at bonus perk Solstice weapons. This is where it's going to help you with your grind for your weapons. The green ones is going to give you a common chance. Not guaranteed, but probably pretty common. Do a few of these, you'll get a couple drops. And if you get a couple where it's like orbs of power and you line up a few of those, well, just go focus on orbs of power and you'll probably be able to get yourself a few of them. The gold ones just straight up are going to give it to you. One is going to be the bonus perk Solstice weapon. I don't know if it's column 3 or column 4 or both, but if it's literally both, that really increases your chance of getting the god roll weapon that you're looking for. And also, if you're, maybe newer, maybe looking for some high stat Solstice or just high stat armor in general, make sure your ghost has whatever you want equipped for your stats dropping. I tend to leave mine on discipline because grenades tend to be pretty helpful, and then on the hunter, the top set of stats is always a bit of a kind of dice roll depending on what you're trying to do with your build. For my Titan, I did a lot of resilience, but after a while, discipline still seemed to be pretty good. And you're going to be able to go through, and if you line them up just like before, like if I could go through, do enough of these gray bounties, and then I start getting Nightfall here, Nightfall here, Nightfall here. Same thing, Nightfall here, Nightfall here. Now when I go do my 3 Nightfalls, same thing I did before to get the 50 alloy, but this time instead of the alloy, when I finish my 3 Nightfalls, I'm going to get 5 pieces of armor with high stats, which hopefully class items are not involved in that, but we'll see. But also, probably more important, is you're going to get 5 bonus perk Solstice weapons from these packages as a guarantee. You finish 3 Nightfalls, turn in all these bounties, that's 5 pieces of armor, 5 weapons, bonus perks on the weapons, really increases your chance for those god rolls. So if you're unlucky on the god rolls and getting up to this point, going through and doing these gold bounties like this, lining them up, and again, you'll have a chance by doing these bounties and these bounties as you're kind of resetting these rows to get still some of these drops to happen. Some are just going to be random. Maybe you'll get a few, maybe you'll get very, very minimal. But then eventually, once you set up your, set of 5 gold bounties, go do that activity however many times you need to, raid encounters, dungeon encounters, whatever it is. When you're done with all that, then you get a boatload of loot, and you can sift through and see what's good. So outside of that, I don't think there's too much else. If you want weapons, Bonfire Bash is just still dropping them. Doesn't really matter if you've got the weapons or not. You're just going to get a whole bunch of engrams, so try and make sure you're working with your team, getting as many of those little igniters thrown into the bonfire as possible. Be a little careful with your throws. The tracking feels like it's not the greatest this year. And, once you start getting all of your armor unlocked, your quest with the Eva Levante will be done. And at that point, it's just like, what weapons do you want? Do you want armor? And again, remember, if you want the colored glows, that is going to come from the Eververse store. But I think that wraps up everything at this point, now that I've kind of finished all of the quests and my forge is done. So this is where things will end up for you when you kind of complete all your quests. And then it's just going to be how much armor and how many weapons do you want to go for. And if you feel like you're good, you may wrap up your time. If you got more to grind for, well, try and have the bounties work in your favor and you'll be able to get more loot. And once you're done with the armor, the loot actually is going to be probably more worth your time. So thank you guys very much for checking this one out. Hopefully the update helps you and guides you a little bit more than what may have happened before. I will try and be streaming more. I've got a lot of stuff to cover later this month. Black Myth Wukong. We've got a World of Warcraft War Within. We've got Visions of Mana, Star Wars Outlaws, and then Space Marine 2 in the course of like 2 or 3 weeks. So it's going to be a little bonkers later in the month, but again, stay tuned, follow me. whether it's twitch.tv/Ebontis, right here on YouTube if you're new and you enjoyed it. Drop a comment below in case I forgot everything, or just say hi. Drop a like on the video, nice way to support the video, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet and you want to see more from me, because that also is a nice free way to support me. You guys can check out my Patreon or YouTube membership if you want to go that far, but never necessary, but appreciated. And if you just want to say hey on Twitter, I'm over there too. Have a good one, everybody, and I'll see you soon.